Good morning. Today we're talking a little bit about how to adjust for table not cutting all the way through. There's a couple of basic and common issues for that, and we're going to address them one by one. First one being the easiest is your ground isn't connected. If your table isn't cutting all the way through, your ground may not be connected. You could slow that thing down to almost nothing, but if your ground is not connected, it's not going to pierce through that material unless it's that tissue paper thin, that 22 to 28 gauge material that's just going to blast away if you blew on it anyway. But the plasma cutter, if it's not cutting through the material, check your ground first. Secondly, you want to check is your torch height. You'll actually see a lot of sparks if that torch is far too high off the material, because it's actually kicking the material that it's digging out up off the table and into the air, into the surrounding, because unlike a normal plasma cut operation where all of that slag and all of that material that's being moved is that pushing through the material is now just being kicked out everywhere. So it'll be very apparent as to if it's too high off the material, it'll actually just flash. The other thing that we're going to consider is torch speed. Now, Hypertherm says that you have to go 249 inches per minute on 16 gauge with a 45 XP, and even they will admit that's not a hard and fast rule. That's not the end all be all of cut speed and accuracy. You can and more than likely will have to make adjustments, either 10 up or 10 down, however you want to play that based on what you're seeing on the table. I will slow down the machine if I'm not piercing all the way through. So I'll take it down 10 inches a minute at a time until I see a cut quality that I do like, and then I play with it until I get it absolutely perfect based on my environment. So based on the cleanliness of my air, based on the quality of the material that I'm working with, the thickness of the material, all of these factors come into play. So if you're not cutting all the way through, check your torch height. We have a torch height controller that I can help you adjust. If you don't know how to do that, or if you want further questions or help, I can help dial that in. Number two, the other thing that we can adjust is our speed, either 10 inches up or down in terms of inches per minute, just to see if that actually impacts the cut. And then finally, check your ground, and if all else fails, also check your consumables, because if your consumables are burnt out, it's likely you're not going to be doing much cutting anyway, but it's always good to double check that. That being said, it looks like we're all good here. I will just add one last note. Depending on your plasma cutter, you'll also want to check your air pressure. Now, Hypertherm is very sensitive and has all of that air pressure information for you, so it's going to maintain a good air pressure as long as it's there. It'll actually kick off and tell us, hey, we can't cut because there's no air pressure. And while this is probably the case on a lot of other plasma cutters, I do want to mention that the air pressure can also impact its ability to not cut all the way through, because you could have all of the electricity in the world, but without the air to back it up to create that plasma, have you got nothing. So check those out, and we will go from there.